Hey everyone, so I was looking at your quiz score or your workspace scores, and overall they didn't look to be so terrible, but we were still having some confusion with the calculating part. So I wanted to make this video on and try to clear up some of that confusion. So we're gonna go over the law of sines and the law of cosines again. And after this video, if you want, I'm gonna ask you to correct your Google form and then send in those answers so I can see your corrected mistakes. All right, so let's get started with the law of sines. So the law of sines says that the sine of angle A over side A is equal to the sine of angle B over side B. So the key thing here is that you have one angle and side pair. You need to have that angle and side pair in order to use the law of sines. All right, so let's do a problem. So I have a triangle. And we have angle A, angle B, angle C, which means that this is little c, this is little a, and this is little b. And we know that this is equal to 11, this is equal to 12, and this angle is 73 degrees. Okay, this was a Khan Academy question. We know this is law of sines because we have a pair. That 73 and 12 is a pair. So now we know we're going to use law of sines. So we know that sine of 73 over 12 is equal to, now all it depends is if we want to find measure of angle B. So we know that that's equal to sine of angle B over 11. All right, well, I'm going to multiply by 11. Multiply by 11. I get 11 sine 73 over 12 equals sine of B. So I'm going to type that into my calculator. Or actually, no. I'm going to take the inverse. So I'm going to do sine inverse of all of that equals B. So in my calculator, I'm going to do sine inverse of 11 sine 73 over 12. And we get 61.24 degrees, or about 61 degrees. Okay, all right, let's do one more. Okay, so here we have a triangle. We know this is 27. We know this is 7. This is 15. All right, we know that this is law of sines because we have that pair. That is an angle and a side pair, so we're going to use that. So we want to find this angle right here. So we're going to do sine of 27 over 7 equals sine of, you can call that B, over 15. So I'm going to multiply it by 15. I get 15 sine 27 over 7 equals sine of B. B just equals the sine inverse of all of this. So I'm going to type that into my calculator. Sine inverse 15 sine 27 over 7. And I get B equal to 76.6 degrees, which in this case was about 77. All right, so the key thing, 77. The key thing for law of sines is you have to make sure you have that pair. Okay. All right. For a law of cosines, you won't have that pair. So you'll have one of two things. You'll either have a triangle where you have all three sides, then you'll use law of cosines. Or you'll have a triangle where you have a side, another side, and an angle. And then you'll use law of cosines. All right, so let's say we have a triangle with 16, 5, 61, and we want to find this side length. So this is B, this is A, this is C, and we want to find this side length right here. We call that AB. All right, well, we have an angle with the two sides. So this is going to be law of cosines. So the law of cosines, we say, so this is C, so C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of the angle. So we want to make sure that the side that we're finding, the C square, is matched with that angle. And then these are the other two sides. So A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. Okay, so now we just got to fill in our thing. Well, we don't know C squared, so that's going to say C squared. But we know A squared, we can use it as 16. B squared is 5. And then cosine this angle is 61. All right, well, we're going to type in 16 squared plus 5 squared is 281. 2 times 16 times 5 is 160. All right, I'm going to type that all in. So 281 minus 160 cosine of 61, making sure that we're in degrees. We are. And we get C squared equals 203.43, and then we just take the square root of that, and we get 14.26, or about 14.3. Sorry, C squared is 203.43, and then we just take the square root of that, and we get C equals 14.26. All right. Let's try one now where we have all three sides. Let me just try this off real quick. All right, now let's try one where we have three sides instead of an angle. All right, we have three sides and we have 7, 11, and 15. And we want, and this is A, this is B, this is C. And we want to find the measure of angle B. All right, so that's going to be our outside number. So we know that this is 15 squared equals 7 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 7 times 11 cosine angle B. Right, we want to find angle B, so we put the matching side length on the outside. So now I'm just going to simplify. Well, that's 225. 7 squared plus 11 squared is 49 plus 121. It's 170. Minus 2 times 7 times 11. All right. Now we just do some algebra. So I'm going to subtract by 170. I get 55 equals negative 154 cosine B. Divide by negative 154. And so I get cosine B equals 55 over negative 154. So now we're going to take the inverse. So B equals cosine inverse 55 over negative 154. And we get about 110.9 degrees. Which is about 111. We get about 111 degrees. Okay, so that's law of cosines. Here we can do one more of those. I'm curious as to where all your problems are. If you want to comment with some questions, I'm curious if you guys are having a hard time inputting it into the formula or getting the right answer. Because if you can input it into the formula, and then you're just having a hard time calculating it, I'm less worried because that's a calculator error. But if you can't input it into the formula, then I feel like we're going to struggle. So let's go over another one. All right, we got a triangle. We got 60, 7, 9, and we want to find this side length right here. We'll call it A. All right, so we have an angle with, and we want to find the side. So this side length is going to go on the outside, so A squared. 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 cosine of 60. All right, well now we have A squared. Well, 7 squared plus 9 squared is 49 plus 81. We get 130 equals 2 times 7 times 9, or excuse me, minus 126 cosine of 60. So then I just type that all into my calculator and I get A squared equals 67. A equals the square root of 67, which equals 8.19, or about 8.2. And that's your answer for that one. All right. Let's do one more. Okay. So sometimes you might have to do extra work to find your answer. So say we have a triangle. And we have 84, 51, 16. And we want to find this side length right here. So we'll call that A. Okay, well, we don't have the angle to go with A, and typically we need that. But we can use the 180 rule to get that angle. So if I do 180 minus 51 minus 84, I get 45. So now I can find the measure of angle A. And this would be law of sines because I have a pair of angles. So I would do sine of 45 over A, and then this would be the other pair. Sine of 51 over 16. I'm going to cross multiply, and I get 16 sine 45 equals A sine 51. Divide by sine 51. I get A equals 16 sine 45 over sine 51. And then I just type that into my calculator. And I get A equals to 14.56. Right? So sometimes you have to see what side length they're asking you for, and you'll have to use the 180 rule to get that missing angle. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. So you're gonna watch this video, and you're gonna comment to see if you have any more questions on it. But then if you feel like you can, go back to the Google form and look at the last questions that where you had to type in your answers. I put comments on some of them, so go back and try to correct it. And then take a picture and then resubmit them so I can see your work. All right, guys, hopefully you found this video helpful, and comment with any other questions. Bye.